Hello and welcome to another video, and today's a special video. You guys love them and I enjoy doing them, and today we're going to talk once again about GameStop. As you guys have been aware on this channel, if you've watched any of my other GameStop videos, and if you haven't, I encourage you to go watch them. As you guys know, I used to work for the company of GameStop. I worked there for about 4.5 years, and I think there are a lot of really great people that work at that company at the level that I was at, in an actual retail store. Pretty much everyone higher than that is terrible and awful. Now, yes, I know there are some really good people out there sprinkled in, but there's just a lot of bad. There's a lot of confusion when you get higher up in that company, and it's basically a company right now that is operating as a headless snake. They cut off the head of the snake and they just don't know what direction to go in. The biggest thing today, and whoo boy, it's big, is GameStop has posted their highest record loss ever of $673 million last year. A full year, $673 million loss. That is inconceivable how bad that is. And so we're going to kind of go through some of the numbers a little bit here. I'm in no way a financial expert, but I mean, the writing's on the wall here. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this video that I say time and time again on this channel, is that if you still work for this company, get out now. The boat is literally has sunk under the water now, and you're just waiting for it to hit the bottom of the ocean. That's literally what's happening right now at GameStop. I'm going to kind of post here different things here so you can kind of follow along with me as I read little snippets from a couple different articles that I've pulled here. So we'll go ahead and begin. For the 52 weeks ended February 2nd, GameStop reported net sales were down 3% to $8.29 billion, while the previous year's net profit of $34.7 million had turned into a record $763 million net loss. GameStop noted that its fiscal 2017 results encompassed a 53-week period, so the numbers may not look as favorable in light for some extra week of sales. However, the fiscal 2018 numbers also include the company's $700 million sale of its Spring Mobile chain of AT&T phone retailers. After the sale of Spring Mobile, GameStop said it was dropping part of its push to diversify its business and focus instead on gaming and collectibles. And while the company's collectibles did grow during the last year, up 11% to $707.5 million, its core gaming business has declined. New hardware sales were down just over 1% to $1.77 billion. New software sales were down 5% to $2.45 billion. And pre-owned and value products dropped more than 13% to $1.87 billion. They continued a years-long slide with the company's pre-owned revenues, which last showed year-over-year gains in 2014. What exactly does this mean? Now, when you look at these numbers, you still see $1 billion. And again, it's not like GameStop isn't making some money. They definitely are. But the biggest thing to note here, and the biggest thing that shows that the writing is on the wall for GameStop more than it ever has been, is the fact that sales of pre-owned video games are down year after year after year since the last time they posted a year-to-year uptick, which was 2014. That is due increasingly to the effectiveness of digital sales. A lot of people, including myself sometimes, would rather just buy a new video game on the digital marketplace and not even leave my house. I did that for Resident Evil 2 because I wanted to play the game at midnight or 11 o'clock where I live when the game released. I didn't want to have to go out in the middle of January to a retail store, pick up my copy, come home, and then wait an hour for the game to download whatever updates and installation and all of that. A lot of people are going this way because it's more convenient. I mean, what's more convenient than going to your home and buying something from your TV, from your system, rather than going out to a retail store and getting in line and then hearing someone behind the counter pitch to you 800 different services and pre-orders and something like that. People are tired of that bullshit, and that's why you're seeing GameStop decline. Another important thing here to notice, and I've said this time and time again, and I will continue to state this, is that you're going to continue to see GameStop stores shrink in terms of pre-owned games, in terms of new games, and you're going to see them become more and more collectible focused, because that's what's bringing the money into GameStop these days. It's not video games, especially not new video games. It's collectible sales. These things can be incredibly cheap to manufacture, and it's an incredible revenue gain when you have something that cheap sold for that high of a price. Now, GameStop, of course, put out their own internal memo and tried to spin this in the most positive way possible. They're also becoming more focused on having people out on the floor rather than doing tasks. I've seen GameStop, again, as someone who worked there for 4.5 years, I saw the topsy-turvy, everything going this way and that way. Hey, we're going to do this, but 6 months later, we're flipping to this. This has been going on for the last decade at GameStop, and, pretty much since the 360 era died and we got into this kind of digital age almost. And it's only going to continue, but GameStop just doesn't know what to do. So they're literally a company that's just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Their biggest thing now is they want people to meet and greet out on the floor when a customer comes into the store and kind of help them, kind of give them that personable approach. And I understand that, but the last thing I want to do when I walk in a retail store is have someone greet me at the front door and then pretty much walk around with me. I just want to shop at my own leisure, and I think a lot of you watching this video are the same way. And on the flip side of that, for people that are behind the counter, I know for me personally, this is something I hated doing when I worked at GameStop. I did not like going up and approaching people that when they first walk through the door. Let these people do what they need to do. Again, you can say a quick hello or welcome to GameStop or whatever, and that's fine, but leave them to do their own business until they're ready to do something, or give them a little bit of time and then say, is there anything I can help you with today? I think that's appropriate and that's effective. This doesn't need to be a wine and dine service where someone's meeting you with a tablet and telling you, hey, well, I can look this up and that up and I can give you all these different trade values and stuff. I mean, I could tell you time and time again different stories between different district managers when I worked at GameStop and the stupid tactics they would have. There was one tactic that I'll even mention here briefly where a district manager basically wanted us to beg for surveys because they were really pushing the survey score for a while. Now again, a survey isn't something that you can really tell someone to do, and so this district manager's answer around that, which I personally didn't do unless he was in the store, his answer was to take out the store tablet that we have after a transaction, then ask the customer, would you like to do a quick survey? And then basically make them fill out this survey about their experience right when they're there. That's incredibly shitty. It's incredibly low. No one wants to do that. You're not getting anything out of it. Most people don't take surveys unless they're pissed. And I'm going to be honest, I'm always would be that person that if I was asked to do that and it seemed like a high pressure situation, probably going to give a bad survey because I don't like taking surveys. That's just me. So let's talk about from some of the internal memo here, the things that are up and the things that are down. So accessory sales increased in 22%. So accessories, controllers, those kind of things, you're still always going to have to buy a physical controller. That's not something you're going to be able to buy digitally and have it, just appear in front of you. That would be something you could order maybe from Amazon. But I'll also admit here, the last couple controllers that I ordered online from Amazon have been garbage. I don't know if this is just because people open the box and they switch them out for their own used controller and then return it, which I've seen people try time and time again when I worked at GameStop, or what's going on. That's a sidebar. Again, collectible sales increased 11.2%. Digital sales, this is an interesting one. Digital sales increased 16.5%. New hardware, new software, they were down. Pre-owned sales, and this is the most important thing to note here, is that pre-owned sales declined 13%. 13%. GameStop's bread and butter as a company is pre-owned. That's what they've always been known for. You're bring in your game and trade it in and then buy something else with the store credit. Credit's better than cash. And then for a while, when people weren't trading their stuff, you'll see the desperation tactics like, hey, cash is the same as credit. They used to run that promotion a lot towards the end of my tenure at GameStop. You'll see a lot of desperation promotions. The other thing that I think is really killing their pre-owned business is this idea of, well, how much can we get away with but still have it cheaper than new? So for example, for a while, and it might still be the case, I haven't been in a GameStop in a while here, but they will price something maybe $10 cheaper or $5. I've seen it all the way to $2. So instead of like the old gold standard was, hey, okay, so Call of Duty came out today, and then I went into the store and somebody traded it in for the next week. You trade it in, that's whatever the value, but we're reselling it at $54.99. And that was kind of the gold standard for a while. So hey, you're getting $5 off, plus if you have our card, another 10%, whatever. Then what GameStop did was, well, how much can we dick around with that and make it so you're still technically saving money, but it's not that much. And we saw prices go all the way up to $57 and $58.99 on a game that is $60. Who wants to walk in a store and buy something for $2 less that somebody's already touched? Not me. I'm sure not you. So why would you do that? You wouldn't. I've also seen the same tactic with used pre-owned systems. For example, standard price of a Nintendo Switch is $299. Fine, for brand new, you walk in there, and this is before tax. Then GameStop is selling used Switches for $289. So you're saving $10. For what? A system that somebody maybe banged around on for a year? No thanks, I'll just buy the new one. It's these kind of shitty tactics that GameStop is trying to push just to generate more revenue in the pre-owned market, but it's not working because all that does is deter people to buy new, or in this case, to buy digital, as we've clearly seen here, because digital sales are up. And another important thing to note here is that recently Sony announced that they're pulling all the game cards out of all retailers. So you're still going to be able to buy currency and subscription cards for like PlayStation Plus and View and those kind of things, but you're not going to be able to walk in the store and say, hey, you know what, Last of Us 2 is out, I just want to buy this digital code that I can put in and play the game. That's gone. Those days are over. You can only buy digital currency. Now, GameStop is obviously trying to swing this as, oh, well, we still sell digital currency, so we're okay. No, there are a lot of people, and I will attest to this when I work there, where somebody will come in, they'll trade in a bunch of games, and they want a digital code just for that specific game. Not for currency, but for that specific game. That's a huge blow to have Sony go, we're done with that, and pull it out. That's just another example of these companies kind of ramping up, Sony and Microsoft, for a more digital pushed approach with these new consoles that are coming in 2020, which I think the real writing on the wall, and I said 2019 is going to be a really bad year for GameStop, but I think 2020 is going to be the devastating year for GameStop. As I predicted, with GameStop posting a $673 million loss, you're going to start seeing those stores closing. I've already heard from people I know that still work in the area that I worked in at GameStop. Stores are starting to get those rumors of, hey, we're not renewing this release, and store managers then are asking their district managers, so what are we doing? And the answer is, I don't know. But the real answer is, we're shutting you down. Again, you're going to see more stores close in 2019 than you've ever seen in the history of GameStop. And that is simply because any store that's not profitable at this point, there's no sense to keep it open. And that's why when you post a $673 million loss, you're going to have to dump some talent, you're going to have to dump some stores, you're going to have to close the dead weight. And unfortunately, I know there's a lot of stores out there that have a lot of good people in them, but if you're not making the sales, it's time to get out. So what I would tell you, my biggest advice for someone who worked there for 4.5 years and saw the cycle, is that if you look at your bottom line and you look at, here's how much I make as a store manager, here's how much it takes to operate this store. If your number of how much you make is higher than the number it takes to operate your store and your rent, they're cutting you this year. There's no question about it. Because why would they pay someone more money to keep a store running when that store in return is not generating the money? They're not going to do that. My biggest advice here is that look at your numbers, pull out your P&L. I know what those are. I used to look at those pretty frequently towards the end. When I worked at a store, we were just trying to keep the doors open. And so I became pretty familiar with the P&L report. And I will tell you right now, you look at the numbers, you can break down of every single different department, what it is, how much you're making, how much you're not. But the bottom line is, if your number as a salary, or now it's hourly for you, is higher than the cost it makes to your rent and the cost it takes to keep your store running, they're not going to keep you open. And it's unfortunate. So polish up your resumes and get out there, and trust me, you can find a way better job. I personally did in my life, and I'm much happier for it. Anyways, guys, that's just kind of a quick video about GameStop, kind of the dickery that's going on there. I know you guys love these GameStop videos specifically, and when I saw this get posted, I thought, man, I have to make a video about this, because this is a huge deal. This is pretty much what I predicted, is that their loss is going to be higher than any other loss they've posted ever. And it certainly turned out that way. So if you guys like more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Let me know. Maybe you still work at GameStop. And again, I'm not saying you're a bad person for working at GameStop if you like working there. I worked there for 4.5 years, but trust me when I tell you, the pay that you make at GameStop is not worth the pain, the aggravation, and the pretty much suffering that I see a lot of store managers, assistant managers, and SGAs go through. Specifically, I know I was in your shoes once. So anyways, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.